Sbuda, Ukraine, my brother.
Football stage. Good, man. How are you doing?
Good. You're not tired? 3 days, intense training.
It was very intense, eh? It was very intense. Hey, Raymond has got a wealth of knowledge, and it's something that we need in this country, where we can get different perspectives of how football has grown and progressed over the years. I think it was a fantastic group of coaches that we had 50 coaches, and their input and their knowledge as well, added on to what Raymond was saying. So I think the biggest takeaway for me this weekend was the breaking down of football actions. And I think we spent 2 days just breaking down what we need to look for, how we need to approach it in terms of our communication to players and the players' communications with each other. And communication, the basis of our discussion is based on tactics and not something that we just decide to come up with during the game. Obviously the game dictates certain things, but our primary reference point is the tactics, and we need to coach according to the tactics. So the tactics inform the players' decisions, individual decisions in the game, and in that, now we look at individual decisions. Are they helping the team based on the communication of the tactics? Right?
It's getting complicated.
This is so crazy. It's so crazy. Like, that blew my mind, right? And then the decision now starts with the what. What do our tactics require of me as an individual and for the team as well? And once that's figured out, and based on where the other players are, where the opponents are, that what now needs to be followed with how. How am I going to do it? How am I going to find that player? And then that then is completed by the player's action to execute. And that also goes into our coaching actions, where the execution is our starting point. It feeds into our analysis of the certain action that the player has done, and now we need to reverse engineer. If the decision was wrong, reverse engineer, go back to the execution, and then the how. How did I execute this thing? How did I execute this action for it to fail? And if the execution was wrong, it needs to be meshed up with the how, and then we move progressively up until the point where we can find where the failure was. And I was like mind blown.
Because like you said, football actions, and there's also periodization. Some of us do not know these things. By football actions, I'm referring like a pass. It's a football
pass. I'm referring to players' movement into space, a player's ability or inability to create space, players' ability to exploit space. But all those form part of that football action, with at the top the communication of that action, which is informed by the tactics and how it was relayed across to the player or the group itself.
Sbuda, you've been coaching for years, my brother, right? How important is it to constantly learn, to constantly attend such courses as a coach, to be, modern football is moving at a very fast pace. For you to keep up, how important is that such courses?
So the importance of learning in general, it basically gives you the tools for any situation, whether in football or in life. That's for me the most important thing about education. Also, what it does, it gives you different perspectives as to your own, because we all have our own perspective and how we do things. But it doesn't hurt to have all these tools, for any eventuality in football and in life. So that's the importance for me of education.
Your first training session after this now, is there anything you're going to change from your normal sessions? Is there something say, this is what I'm no longer doing, I'm doing this now?
I don't know if Coach Fiso touched on our Rondo discussion.
A bit, but you can expand on that.
So, okay, I'll start first personally with what I've learned and what I need to relate to the players. You know, I don't want to say my players because they're not my players, the players. The first thing is to engage them, because if there's no understanding or cohesiveness between myself and the players, none of this will matter at the end of the day. So I need to engage them more. I need to understand what they were trying to do in every action. So we don't build robots, we build people with reasoning and people that can put together a hypothesis of what they were trying to do and provide an argument of why they made the decisions they made. And in the greater scheme of things, was it good for them or was it good for the team? So that's going to be the primary focus. In terms of the technical aspect of things, I think there needs to be a progression in terms of the training sessions that we put together, how we put them together, and whether or not they represent football as a whole. Even if they don't represent football as a whole, but the majority of it needs to represent football, so that when we reflect on the player's performance over the weekend or in the game, it needs to be based on the training session, and the training session informs what happens in the game, right? And if we are playing rondos and it's a 4v2, it's an easy situation, there's nothing to worry about behind, all you do is just play square. I can't expect a player over the weekend to scan and check and try and progress and create all these football actions that were not practiced at training. So our design of training sessions need to improve to include as much of football as possible, because all the actions that the players take, it's basically mostly automated in the conscious brain. And if we introduce preconditions that are not suitable for a game situation, we will find ourselves with robots that are able to do certain actions, whether or not they are fully football. But if we say it's right, they're gonna think it's right. So that's one thing I would try and fix with my training sessions going forward.
My brother, thank you very much for your time. You can go rest now. It's been an intense weekend for you. Sharp.